Yeah, Homer led the league in tackles with 85. The deep ball for Darius Prince, and Philadelphia's on the board first.
On the draw, this is Bryson Alene. And Alene weaving his way all the way down to the 22. 10-yard line, 5. Mayfield, Dancy, all around. Throw it as far as he can throw it. Jump ball coming. Crazy stuff. Not this time.
And you want to be a wide receiver. You're going to have to take a little bit of a hit like that as Brown got him in that shoulder, but watch. Those are teeth.
Do we have a dentist on staff here?
Shady Sports, so great to be back on tonight, night of the AF1 schedule release. I'm joined by two legends, Coach O of the Salina Liberty and Coach Thomas of the Southwest Kansas Storm. Coach, how we doing tonight?
Pretty good in yourself. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on tonight. So my first question for you both is, right off the bat, can you give me one word to describe your 2025 schedule? Coach O, we'll start with you.
Shocking. Really wasn't involved in how they did everything. I think it does add the suspense of what everybody's going to be looking for. Every game is going to matter. I love the way that they put it all together. Just trying to figure out our role and how we do it and everything. But I would say shocking, just looking at some of the teams that we're playing, the order in which we're playing. That's the first word that came to me.
Coach Thomas, what about you?
He stole my answer, you know. First of all, you started by calling me a legend. That is, I don't know who you talk to, but I'm in the presence of two legends here, so I'll take that anytime I can. Yeah, that's the schedule right there. Trying to process it. A lot of some unique setups there, and we'll roll with it, I guess.
You know, I wanted to ask you, if you had to compare the Central Division to one current NFL division, which one would you compare it to? Coach O, I'll start with you.
Did you say Coach O?
Yes.
I would say the Central, NFC Central, with the Green Bay as well as Detroit, you know, all of that. And then you also have, you know, the Bears. I mean, I think that's what conference is, a black and blue type conference, division, not conference, division. And it's going to be a lot of cannibalism going on, so to say. I mean, definitely got great coaches in that division. We got some great players in that division. We got rivalries in that division. We're adding Corpus Christi to that rivalry, which I'm very excited to, you know, have another team down there in Texas. Loving that. That's what I would definitely say. It's going to be a very difficult division. It's not going to be easy, but I think everybody's going to be competitive, and everybody has upgraded from what they did last year.
Coach Thomas, what do you got?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. You know, with Coach's assessment there. You know, if I had to find another comparable one and not, you know, steal his answer again, it'd probably be, you know, the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals. You know, that division is highly competitive. All of the games matter. You know, they all play a good brand of football in their own way. You know, so I think both of them are great comparisons. You know, dozen one way or six to one, half dozen the other. So, yeah.
No doubt. And so, you know, my next question for you both as head coaches, you're constantly looking to kind of improve the roster. I know there was some bright spots for you. Coach Thomas, your wide receiver core was amazing. Coach O, your DB room was electric. But both of you have something in common. You both lost to Albany by a combined 74 points. Coach O, I want to start with you. What position group do you feel like needs the most improvement to take that next step and host that trophy at the end of the season?
Well, all of them. I mean, if you look at what Albany has signed, they already had a pretty good football team of some pretty veteran ball players that came and played well for Coach Ware. And then what they've done free agency wise, picking up different players from different teams. I say every position to have a chance to go against them, as well as Bill. I'm seeing what they're doing. Also looking at Orlando is doing some things as well. So we have to improve all over. I had to improve as a coach. I had to bring in help. So I think the coaching staff is going to be our major improvement that Salina has done. Instead of me, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, my hands in the special teams and all of that type stuff, to have a coaching staff this year that's going to help out and take one of those loads off of me. I won't be calling defense. We have LJ Larachi, who's a arena IFL legend. He knows the game inside and out. To have him on board is going to be a huge help for me. Coach Matt Wells is another guy that has been a great football player as well, but also a great coach. He's coached at a lot of different stops. So I'm very, very excited to see what he brings to the table and what he's already brought to the table with helping us with recruiting. We actually also brought in Brandon Davis, who's a director of player personnel for us, to help us with recruiting as well. So we kind of took a different approach. Instead of just saying a specific position, we kind of looked at all of the positions, and we also looked at helping the coaching side as well. So we took a little bit different look at it and came up with that synopsis, so to say.
Definitely, that makes sense. How about you, Coach Thomas?
Well, to defend Coach O here a little bit, I accounted for most of those 74 points. He hung around with Albany. We got smoked, but there's a lot more, there's a lot more that we're on 2 days notice, played on a Monday night, didn't get a lot of time to prepare. It took us, 24 hours to get there, didn't get a practice in before we got there. We lost Michael Lawson, that week before, and didn't have a guy that could cover high motion. That was still under Ironman rules. We had guys playing out of position by the end of that game. I mean, it was the perfect storm of a disaster. I think that game's a lot closer on any other weekend, but we'll find that out this year. But yeah, they're not even, they're not even something that we're worried about at this point in time. I mean, look at the schedule. I opened with Wichita back-to-back and Coach O back-to-back in the first 4 weeks. Albany game's irrelevant, for us. So, for us, it's, we at this point, we can only control what we can control. I know that's coach speak, but, the schedule's unique, uniquely weird, probably to any, at least for us. I'm not talking league wide. I'm talking about for us. All three of our divisional opponents, we play in back-to-back weeks. I've never seen that at any level of football. So that has its own unique challenges. We'll have to do really good as a coaching staff. We're going to have to be creative. Sometimes if you space some things out, you can recycle some things, within the game plan. You almost have to come up with a new game plan. I mean, not that you don't come up with a new game plan, but a lot of different looks if you're going to play somebody back to back, because they're going to adjust to, whatever you just did, whether you beat them with it or whether you lost to them. I mean, they've got a good chunk of your personnel, matchups that they want, and then how that played out. And then you get to replay it, 7 days later. That's a very unique thing. That's going to force us, like I said, to be on our game as a coaching staff and as game planners. And that's going to present its own unique challenges. But that's our first 4 weeks of the season. What I don't know is, what the criteria for the playoffs are going to be as far as, what's weighted within divisional games versus out of division games. That stuff I don't know yet, but if divisional games happen to be weighted heavier, I got 4 of them in the first 4 weeks against 2 opponents. I mean, that's, you're talking about potentially, playoff implications being decided in the first 25% of your season, depending on how the rule book reads. So that, I don't know, again, just trying to process all this and figure out, the goods and the bads and figure out how to deal with it and move on.
Coach Thomas, speaking about personnel, you guys made a shocking personnel decision by signing Montel Cozart, UFL quarterback from the Houston Gamblers. I want to ask you, is he coming in to compete with Matt Struck for that QB1 role? Is he going to be used more as a Taysom Hill type player?
Well, we recruited Montel last year. He was coming off, a bit of an issue which prevented him from playing football, and circling back, wanted to talk with him some more, and obviously he's capable. He's been around a lot of football. Got a lot of confidence in Matt. During free agency, apparently everybody was recruiting him. So we were very fortunate to get Matt back. Matt does a lot of things really well. He's big, he's physical. For anyone that watched us, our style of play is probably not traditional to the AFL or AF1 now. And gotta find you. There you are. You got.
Yeah, I got you.
So we have a lot of confidence in Matt. He's embraced, our style of play. He embraces contact. He embraces touching the football, more than, maybe any quarterback should at this level. And he's a great leader. And we've got all our eggs in that basket. What we had to do was protect our, he went to some UFL workouts and showcases, and, he's not a nobody on the quarterback scene. So, we've got to protect ourselves against losing him before the season even gets here, to some type of outdoor opportunity. So for us, signing Montel was, giving us, and there's no, we have no way to predict if Montel will be here by the time March comes around. March, a lot of the UFL guys are loading up, and Montel's played in the UFL and he's played in the CFL. And in an emergency situation, you want a guy that has taken snaps, understands, all of the different, a lot of the teams are probably using similar verbiage. A lot of the teams are using similar schemes. So if you needed a seasoned guy to come in and be a backup, I'm sure he would probably jump on that opportunity in either of those leagues. So, I'm not trying to get not too far ahead of myself. Both those guys, I think, I think our quarterback room is as good as anybody's in the league today. By the end of the week, I could give you a different answer. Theoretically, we lose one or both of them, and we're starting from ground zero. So, they're both high quality individuals, both good people, both great football players. And we're fortunate to have them, but we really do like what Matt brings to the table, and we know, that he gives us a chance to win football games.
Definitely, I'm excited to see how that dynamic turns out. I want to introduce Charles Lavetree, huge Philadelphia Soul fan. Charles, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you have for Coach O or Coach Thomas.
Yeah, I actually have a question now for the both of you. First of all, honored to be here with you guys. Nice to meet you guys. The question I have to start off with is, we know that your teams kind of, some people might say, play a different style of ball than some traditional teams do. How do you guys feel like that impacts you on the field?
Oh, I'll go with it. I think it impacts us in a very positive way. Won 8 of our 11 ball games. I think that proves it. Making it to the semifinals I think proves it as well. So it's a style that wins. It's a style that I've won with. Every level of coaching that I've done in this indoor, it's a style that I've used, and it's a formula that I don't see any need to change if you're winning at a clip that we won at this past year.
You definitely don't want to change something that's working.
Yes, definitely true.
How about you, Coach Thomas? What do you think? Oh, I'm sorry, Krish.
Oh no, you go. You go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it limits us. I know some of the limitations because of what we do. You know, the ball comes out a little bit slower. You know, but I also think we put pressure on people in other ways that people have to prepare for. You know, we lost 5 games last year on the last play of the game. You know, which
Right.
you know, I'm head coach, falls on me. You know, so we didn't do something in our preparation, but it also showed that we're in football games. You know, Coach O and I played 3 times last year, and all 3 of them basically came down to the last play of the game. And then he went on to the semifinals and gave Albany, you know, all they can handle for, you know, and he did that, you know, he's being modest here, but he did that when he lost the defensive MVP of the league on the first play of the game on an interception. You know, so, you know, does that affect the outcome of the game? We'll never know. But the fact is, you know, he's a couple touchdowns away from playing in the finals. And we came down to the last play of the game in all 3 games with him. So I feel like we're right there too. All I can base it off of is, you know, common opponents and, you know, scores and obviously matchups matter and stuff like that. But, you know, we feel like our style of play is obviously different, and we know that it has some limitations, but it also has some things that other people can't do playing some of that more traditional style.
Absolutely. Absolutely does. You know, and the thing I think people don't talk about too is, you know, teams may not be able to defend against that style because they're not used to seeing it as well. So it kind of gives you that hidden advantage there as well. And it adds a little variety to the games as well. I've heard a lot of people say that too. You know, it changes the style a little bit. So
Agree.
that's all. Am I good to ask more questions, Krish?
Yeah, no problem. Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys is coming off of a season like last year, what is probably the biggest thing you're looking forward to in terms of the better setup, the better organization that we have this time around? I know last year was crazy. I know we referenced it a little bit before how games were a little rescheduled or last minute and things like that. How do you think that helps you guys going forward this year?
Well, basically, not to do, so to say. The thing that I love about this, I was talking with Gary off air before this, and I said we're miles ahead of organizationally as far as a league than we ever were in the offseason last year. Just the organization and how Jerry Kurtz has done what he's done, Coach Fisher, the way he's done what he's done, but Gary, his ex-teammate of mine, how we have meetings every week. We're discussing different things in real time. We're discussing different rules. We had, you know, the head of official coming on talking to us about what they like, what they don't like. So we have more of the Q&A to give a better product for our fans. I just think this one, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know last year was it was tough. It was not easy. Not going to sit here and stun about that. But this year, I mean, starting with, you know, the meeting that they had, you know, in Nashville, the meeting we had in Chicago, just how professional that it was done, how when you want to get an answer, you can reach out and actually call people, get answers.
That's
all
big.
Things that was not there before are there. And everybody should have known it when Jerry kind of put his foot in there. It's going to be done the right way. It's going to be professional. Gary is one of the top 25 players to ever play in arena history. To have him come on as a director of football ops, you could just see toward the end of the year, he came on and you could see a difference from, you know, the last 2 regular season games in the playoffs than what we did previously, the previous 6 games. So I'm just very, very happy. I feel blessed that God had blessed us to bring those guys on board. For Coach Fisher to step out there, he didn't have to step out there. He could have just stayed at the position he had and said, "Hey, that's somebody else's problem." But he
Right.
stepped there, and he's an 85 Bear. That's my favorite team. So it showed that grit that he played with. That's what he went through to get this thing back on the rails, and we're on the rails now, and I'm very excited about what 2025 have for us.
Thank you, Coach O. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach Thomas?
Yeah, along those similar lines, it's just the accountability. The accountability that the new leadership is holding franchises to, that they're holding coaches to, and vice versa. A lot of the things that have been laid out for us and actually seeing follow through on those announcements, commitments, all that kind of stuff, having a line of communication. Last year, being a guy that's been in football for 20 years, at the collegiate level, which is generally very organized.
Right.
Last year you could see red flags, but there was no one to go complain to. There was no one to say, "Hey,
Right.
they're coming. I can see it coming. How do we head this off?" And just to have all of those kind of checks and balances gives you, a little bit better feeling about, where this thing is going and seeing the bigger picture of, not only 2025, but, what it could be in 2026 and 2027 and all of the hard work and that's the general public doesn't get, we don't get a ton of information. The owners do keep some things, pretty close to the vest and stuff like that. But, some of the things that are in the works, for the future, I think are very exciting if they ever do come to fruition. And, for right now, all we can do as coaches is, do the thing that we're paid to do, which is put a good product out there and show the league in the light that it's capable of being. And just, start to earn back the trust of the fan bases out there and the people that, some people, are going to hate it no matter what we do. Some people are going to love it no matter what we do. And there's a lot of people right now that are on the fence, and we've got to win over the people that are on the fence and just show them that the product here that we're putting out is something that they should be interested in and see where this thing can go.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And if it's okay, I have one last question as well for you guys.
Okay.
I had heard some rumors. I think we've all heard it at this point that the league will do away with some of those strange extra point situations we had last year with the 3-pointers and the 4-pointers. What did you think? I'll start with Coach Thomas this time. What did you think of those rules? Were you in favor of them? Did you like them, or are you kind of happy that potentially they're going to be gone this year?
I was not a fan when Coach O went for 4 points at our place to tie the game with a minute. That was not my favorite thing that ever happened to me. Other set of rules, we comfortably are about to win that football game. But I will say a lot of people came. Luckily, we ended up winning that football game. But a lot of people came up after the game and they were like, "That's the greatest football game I've ever watched." There was a bunch of lead changes throughout, and it did. I get the rationing behind it, and it does. You're never too far away. I think if you were going to, the other side of it is, it's hard to get a touchdown in this league, which is 6 points, and a 2-point or a 4-point conversion is, almost, a full touchdown's worth of points for one snap from the 10-yard line. It seems like a overvalued thing, but at the same time, the percentages of actually converting one are honestly, pretty low, probably, if there was an, analytics guy that was around. But, I see the value of both ways. I really was kind of indifferent on which way it was going to go from a league standpoint. I I didn't like it when it happened to me, but I'll tell you what, the first time I'm down by, 13, I'll be like, man, I wish I could go for 4 right now.
Yeah.
And so, I get both sides of it. But like I said, I was indifferent on, being that it was my first time in the league. It's the only thing that I was ever exposed to, obviously being an outdoor guy for my entire career. It was extra points and 2-point conversions. So that's what I was used to. It was a nice little, change of pace. I think we only went for, 1, 3 or 4 pointer throughout the year. So it didn't really fall into my lap too much other than really that one time. But, I'm up for whatever the majority wanted.
Thank you, Coach Thomas. I appreciate that. Coach O?
I would definitely say at first, when I first heard of it, it was in the CIF. I was not a fan of it at all. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you in the beginning. But I sat down and I had a conversation with Stephen Titus, the owner of the Billings Outlaws, and he kind of gave me the background of it. He gave me a lot of literature to look over, and just through conversations, he kind of talked me into it, which, hey, if you know Stephen Titus, he's got that type of ability. He's a lawyer by trade. So, hey,
Yes.
So it really didn't matter to me either way. I'm a coach at the end of the day. I'm going to use it when it benefits me, and I'm going to defend against it when it's presented to me that we have to stop it. So I thought it was a pretty good wrinkle. It definitely made our game unique. There was no other league that I know of that was doing anything like it. Yes, and it did, like he said, that game, I think we only went for 1 4-point all year, and it was against Coach Thomas, and we were luckily hit it, but still lost the game. But, I mean, it still added value to that game. I still have a lot of friends in Dodge City that said exactly what Coach Garrett said. Win or lose, that's part of the game. If you can't deal with that type rationale of if you're gonna lose or win, it's a 50% chance of either. You shouldn't be coaching. But to see the fans' reaction to it, to see how, our fans went crazy. They didn't even know what really was going on. And once that score went up there and it was a tie, just to see the reaction of, 2 sets of fans. You saw Southwest Kansas fans like, oh, like this, and seeing our fans getting crazy, going wild, and our bench went crazy. I thought it was pretty cool. So either way it goes, I'm going to be okay with it. But it definitely added a little bit of value, a little spice to the game, so to say, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. I know my buddy Gregory, who I believe is probably in the chat, we had talked about that all season, that it did really add that extra wrinkle because, the game wasn't over. You could really come back still. I know it was a big adjustment for some, but I definitely, I kind of liked it as a fan. I'll be honest. Between that and the deuce, I mean, there's just so many ways to score, and it does, like you said, make it unique. It makes our sport even more unique than it already is to begin with. For sure. I think that's it for questions that I have at this point, Krish.
Thank you, for coming on, Coach Thomas, Coach O. I appreciate both of you coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys go at it again. Last year, Coach O, you were the winner, 115-109, final score through 3 games. So I'm excited to see you both get to go at it again. So appreciate both of y'all's time.
Oh, I can't wait.
Thanks again for having us. Thanks for the invite.
Yes, sir.
I'm a game
Thank
changer.
you.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.